It's not what you have, it's how you use it. That's what a friend told me many years ago when it came to technology. And the reality is that's mostly true, but the reality is sometimes it is what you have. If you have an old, outdated computer, it's probably not going to get the job done no matter how smart you are. If you have a bad camera, if you're trying to use a Polaroid camera, that's not going to compare to a high-end, digital DSLR, fancy camera today to take pictures. Sometimes it's what you have, but it's also and mostly how you use it. So in this video, we're going to talk about church technology and what you should use, and then we'll dig into the future, how you should use it. Hey there, if we haven't met yet, I'm Nils Smith, your social media guide, and I love to help churches, ministries, organizations of all kinds maximize social media to accomplish their goals. And in this video, we're going to talk about church technology. Church technology is known to be bad, but the reality is it's not all bad. There's some great options for church technology. And I want to talk about what I believe to be the best church technology stack. Now, in order to have the right technology stack, the reality is that different technologies are built for different sizes and kinds of organizations. And so as I talk through these things, not everything is going to be right for everyone. And I understand different churches are of different sizes, different budgets, different staff sizes. And so I want to give a variance here. The reality is whether you know it or not, your church has a technology stack that you're using. And that involves things like your website, like your sound system, your sermon hosting platform. And so there are technologies that you're using and that need to work together. And you need those to be good. And you need those at the end of the day to probably be lasting so that you're not having to change all the time. Because the challenge in technology is it is always changing and we need to adapt and change. But when we choose the right platforms, we don't have to change as much. And those platforms will stay ahead of the technology so that we don't have to obsess with trying to keep up with all this technology. So let's talk about the optimal church technology stack for your church. So the first piece in your church technology stack is your website. And your website is your front door to your church. Before you do anything, you check it out online. If you go to a restaurant, you're probably going to check out the menu. You're going to check out, what it's like. And before somebody comes to your church, they're going to check it out online. And so your church website is very important. And you want to make sure that, one, it's searchable on Google, that people can find it. And two, that it looks great, that it has great functionality, great design, great structure. And so there's really two platforms that I see are best for churches. And there are probably many others that maybe really geeky people can get into, but two primary church technologies when it comes to websites, and that's WordPress and Squarespace. And I've actually flipped on this. I'd become a big Squarespace fan, but I would say, and I was originally a WordPress guy because, WordPress was kind of the original where you could really build on top of it with a content management system that was easy to use and functional. But I found WordPress to get a little clunky and be a little complicated with all the plugins and things like that, where Squarespace just worked. The reality is that SEO, search engine optimization, is so important for your church that people can find you on the internet. And I have found WordPress to be just far better with the tools, the plugins, the things that you can use to make sure that Google is finding your church website. And so I have flipped from Squarespace to WordPress as the optimal platform. And honestly, Squarespace has gone up in price as well. And so where Squarespace had become cheaper, easier, more functional, I say more functional, but just harder to break in many ways, I would say WordPress has become better, more affordable, and just, the clunkiness is actually not so much when you use other tools. So I would choose WordPress over Squarespace. And I got to say here, and I'll be transparent, I recently bought, because I believe this is such an important thing for churches, a church WordPress company or website company for churches called ChurchPress.co. And so if you're looking for a great provider of church websites, development or tools to use, it's a great platform, $99 a month. Full, your hosting and everything is there within your website. And it's the best, and there's a reason I bought it, search engine optimization platform. It was built for SEO so that church websites can be found by Google. So at the end of the day, I think you got to choose which hosting platform, and I say hosting like what content management system, and that's WordPress or Squarespace. And so my choice, my recommendation is WordPress. For most churches, I think it's the platform that you should use. But Squarespace is a very close number two. So I would look at those two platforms and choose which is the best fit for you. Now, the second and probably the most important piece or part of your technology stack, and what you don't want to switch, you want to commit to, is your database system, your church management system. And this has been the point of so much pain for so many churches and organizations, and nobody's like, oh, I love my database system, but it is so important. And so there's really two platforms that I see in the market right now that I think are worth looking at or considering as your first options. And the first, if you're a larger church, Rock RMS is an incredible platform. The things you can do customization wise, one of the things I get really excited about is when I was involved as a church communications director, involved in that side of church leadership. We had Fellowship One and it was terrible, and we were so frustrated all the time. And it just wasn't improving. Rock is a platform that is so customizable, can do almost anything you want. The problem is it's so customizable that it can be complicated and overwhelming for most churches. So if you're a church, 1,000 or more, even 500 or more, I think Rock RMS is something worth considering. It's going to require significant investment. You really need dedicated staff support for that platform. But Rock RMS is a great solution. Now, for most churches, and the platform that honestly I've seen a lot of churches even get excited about is Planning Center. Planning Center started as kind of a worship planning software, and they were just so user-friendly and so functional that they kind of moved into the whole church management system. And you can kind of plug and play and use different functions of Planning Center, and that's what a lot of churches use. Even Rock RMS, a lot of those churches are still using different Planning Center tools. Planning Center is just a really user-friendly platform. And so there's not a ton of customizations you can use. You use it as is, but it works and it's affordable. And it really is a great solution. So between Rock RMS and Planning Center, I think you've got two great options to consider as to basically what would be the best fit for your church when it comes to your database platform. So you've got your website, you've got your database. Let's talk about email. Now, a lot of people will say, well, our database system has email built into it. The reality is not, you shouldn't use every tool within a platform just because it's there. They're not gonna be specialized in this. And this is where I do think you've got to sometimes add to your tech stack instead of doing an all-in-one. All-in-ones are typically all good at nothing, and they're good at everything. They're not great at anything. And this is where I think a platform like MailChimp is just such a good tool for churches or really any organizations because MailChimp keeps your list clean. It makes sure your open rates are higher. It's just it's made for email. And so I think using MailChimp in particular, active campaigns is, I would say, a secondary option to consider. But I would really primarily look at MailChimp and how you can integrate MailChimp, and it will integrate with Planning Center, and it will integrate with Rock RMS or really any kind of database system that you're using. But I really think MailChimp is the go-to when it comes to email marketing today. So let's talk about texting in church. There's actually coming another called Text in Church. It's a great company. My friend Tyler runs it. I highly recommend it. Check it out, textinchurch.com. But I think, when it comes to even what's going to integrate with your tech stack in Text in Church, honestly, I haven't used it hands-on, so I can't speak to that platform. I love their philosophy, though, of how it really just helps people take the next steps. But when it comes to basically a texting tool that you can plug into your database system, similar to how a MailChimp would plug in from an email standpoint, SMS is just such an important tool. And I think it's something we don't think about a lot because we're like, oh, we just text one-to-one, but should we mass text? That's annoying, it's overwhelming. The reality is 97% of all text messages are read within 5%. Now, we only read about 15% of the emails that come into our email box. So email, very important. You should be emailing your congregation at least once a week, but texting is a form of direct communication. Now, you're limited by a lot of things, number of characters, and really you don't want to over text, but it is such a powerful tool. Your church needs to be texting. Your congregation, people want to hear from you, and it's the most direct form of communication. So you need to have a text messaging platform. And luckily, there are some great platforms out there. So the two that I think are worth considering, the first one is Ministry by Text. Look, I love this platform mostly because I love the founders of this platform. It's built by just Jesus-loving people who want to serve the church well. They actually built an enterprise platform that they sold, but they kept the ministry platform because they believe and they care about ministries. And so it's good technology that was built and used by Harley Davidson and lots of big companies, but now is is being utilized exclusively for churches and ministries. So ministry by text is a great solution. The other is ClearStream. ClearStream has great integrations as well with some of the database systems. Both will integrate. And then I would check out Text in Church too and see which is the best platform for your church. But use texting, find the right platform, and lean in. So email and texting are such an important part of your communication systems, and that communication piece of email and text is so important to find the right technologies that fit into your holistic technology stack. All right, the last piece of the tech stack. Now, the truth is there's probably 20 different pieces to your tech stack, but I believe these to be the 5 most important pieces that you've got to choose from and really you want to lock into, not change very often, and that's online giving. What's going to be your online giving platform? And there's been a lot that have kind of come and gone, and you want to lock into something that's really stable, secure, and you want to look at what are the fees. And it's challenging to switch companies because you get a lot of recurring giving set up, and you don't want to change it. And I want to say this, like if PayPal is your online giving platform, you really need to look at another option. PayPal is good to have available to people that like PayPal, but PayPal should not be your primary online giving platform. Now, the online giving platform, and I have used and tested and looked into so many different platforms, and the truth is the church has great options available to them today. The number one platform today in 2023 that I would recommend is a platform called SecureGive. SecureGive is a platform that I used more than 10 years ago at Community Bible Church, and we loved it and had a great experience. They've been around for probably 20 years now. They were one of the first to really even develop kiosks to make and really introduce online giving early. They're a family-owned business, and they're not going anywhere. And so I've got another team, and I just trust them. And I think at the end of the day, what I want more than anything is that I trust my provider, because if your online giving goes down, that's really going to affect your church very significantly. And I can guarantee you, SecureGive is secure. They have never gone down in the life of the company. Now, that can be said of most online giving platforms because of the compliance that they have to provide. And so while SecureGive is the number one I would offer, I would say if you look at options, Tithely is probably the other that I would consider out there as well. That's providing great technology, great service. Tithely offers kind of a full landscape of your full technology stack all in one. So you can get an app and website and all kinds of things from Tithely as well. So I would look at both options. One of the things I like about SecureGive is they don't do all the things. They just do online giving. For the most part, they do have an app, some other things, but they're really built to integrate with your other technologies. And I love that. I love that structure, that philosophy. So I really recommend SecureGive, but I'd also look at Tithely as a secondary option. So I hope this helps. I hope this helps you as you look through your technology stack at your church and choose the right platforms to be on. The good news is the good tools are available to churches. And now it comes to choosing what you're going to have. But more than that, how are you going to use them? And there's a lot of process to that. We'll make other videos about digging into each and how you maximize SMS and how you maximize email. But at the end of the day, get the right tools in place. And then let's look at maximizing those tools. Thanks so much for watching. I look forward to talking to you again on the next video.